What is up? Welcome back to Don't Quote Us Sports. It is Friday, September 19th. And Herb, I gotta be honest with you. Why in the Lord's year of 2025 do we still need to bother with corporate networking events?
Oh, at work. We're starting with work.
Because I'll give you some background here. And not to toot my own horn, but I like to think that I exceed expectations in my role at my job right now. Subtle brag, humble brag. Sure. I got invited to go to this breakfast with senior leadership.
A breakfast is awful. A work breakfast is the worst meal you could have. Mm-hmm. It's worse than brunch with your in-laws after a night of partying.
Yeah, and you know what makes it worse, too? The fact that I showed up 30 minutes late by accident, so everybody was already mid-conversation, so then I was stuck sitting there like a weirdo, just in the corner, just like the most awkward human being you've ever seen before in your life, and I hated every moment of it.
So what our listeners are learning about Isaiah here is that at 1-year-old's birthday parties, don't talk to me. I'm standing in the corner. At network events at work, I'm standing in the corner. Don't talk to me.
I feel like the optics are quite different in these scenarios.
I tell you what, if now were you like, oh shit, I'm running late, or you walked in, you went, oh, it started 30 minutes ago. Oops.
No, so I planned on not showing up right when it started because. No, thank you.
You don't want to be the first one there.
The awkward start, don't want that to be me. So I planned on being 15 minutes late because it was an hour-long thing. So I was like, show up 15 minutes late, give me 45 minutes. That should be fine, no biggie. Well, then by the time I was ready to go, I went to the wrong floor because in Charlotte, there's 4 different Wells Fargo buildings, and I just for some reason assumed it was in my building where I sit. So I went up to the 30th floor and I started walking around, and it was a ghost town. I walked the entire floor. I think I saw 2 people. So then
it was the cleaning crew.
So then I pull up on my phone, my calendar, and I look at it. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, this is in a different building, which was like down the street. So then I had to go rush over there and get up there. And then it's just full bore already going, and I'm just like, "Oh no!"
Now let me tell you this, okay? You are a better man than I am, and maybe that's why in career you're much more successful than I am. I have no problem admitting that. My ass would have been like, "Oh, it's not in this building. Ain't going. I'm gonna get to work early. I'm gonna get the hell out of here early. All right." Peace, love, and blessings. I never would have changed venue, my friend.
Yeah, see, I would have, but I literally had gone up and asked my boss earlier this week because on the invite it literally said "do not forward," so it made it seem like it was quite a secretive type of event.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I literally went up to him because I don't go to that office typically. I usually only go there once a week, and I had already gone there on Tuesday. So then I went up to my boss. I'm like, hey, I got invited to this thing on Thursday. Do I really need to go type of thing? Like,
you never ask. You never ask.
And he's like, oh, yeah, you definitely should. Yeah. And I'm like, God, dang it. Ugh. And I know, like, there's some people that love their jobs in corporate America and whatever. I do it because there's a paycheck after every 2 weeks. I don't do it because I truly love what I do. While I do like think some pieces of it are like pretty cool and like the people I can talk to sometimes is interesting. Like on a day-to-day basis though, it's not like I'm waking up. It's like, yes, frick yeah.
Let's go to work. Let's do some high level accounting, baby.
Yeah. And it's like, no, that not my thing. And then these networking events are essentially where you have to either brag about yourself, which I don't want to brag about myself because I'll just let my work.
Oh, you don't want to brag about yourself now?
In a professional setting. In a professional setting, I don't want to sit there and brag about myself because I'd rather just let my work do the talking, you know? Like, if my work's good enough, the right people should find out about it, is my thought process, right?
No,
like,
not in today's corporate. You gotta kiss ass and suck a little all the way to the top, my friend.
See, and I just won't do that, you know?
It's dog eat dog. Why do you think I've never had a corporate America job? Why do you think I've never been inside of an office building on an 8 to 5? There's a reason. I don't fit there, okay? I stick out like a sore fucking thumb. I'm going to go hang out with the gangbangers and shoplifters at my job, all right? The drug heads and the weirdos. Those are my people. You and your stuffed shirts.
Yeah, so
corporate networking, we are selling on corporate networking.
There is also a happy hour after work today. I did skip that though. I was like, no, thank you.
That's ambitious. Was it free booze?
I'm assuming so.
I'm there, and I'm not like a heavy drinker like I used to be. Shout out to Peggy's Tavern. But I'm going for that. I'm not going for shit ass eggs and limp bacon. All right, but get me a mojito, give me some music, and eventually you'll find me out on the smoking patio with a Camel Crush in hand. All right, that's what I do at network events.
See, it's different for me though because it's like, one, I live an hour away, so what am I gonna do? Have a beer or two and then drive home in one of the deadliest highways there is? That doesn't sound like a great idea. And then that's really the only one I have. I don't really drink anymore either, so it's not like, and it's like just again, it's not. I've always been one to like separate work from personal, so I don't have friends at work. I have coworkers that I talk to while I'm at work, but I'm not friends with them outside of work. And at those events, it's always trying to get into like personal stuff. I'm like, you don't care, I don't care.
Let's stop calling this what it isn't, right?
Yeah,
I get it.
And it's like, it's just all for show.
Listen,
It's all a big facade.
Listen, I'm against the man. All right, I'm against corporate America. Bring down the whole thing. So for those of you listening at home that are driving to their office job or in the car or they're even sitting at their desk listening to us, a few of our listeners have told me that. Just know, corporate America sucks, and we all agree. We know it. It's all right.
I hope everybody agrees.
That there is some psychopath out there. It's just like, I can't wait to go in and put in 8 hours for my boss. I can't wait.
Oh, I know for a fact that there's people like that. Like I see people running in the office because they must be late for something. I'm like, we are not brain surgeons. We are not scientists. We do nothing that is urgent in the grand scheme of things.
No one's gonna die.
Yeah. You don't need to run to this office to talk about an audit report that just got issued that you guys did poorly on. You'll live, I promise.
No, the entire world is coming down because crunch the numbers, Isaiah. That's your job. Okay? The world's falling apart. If it takes me 30 extra seconds to deliver this to my boss who's not even going to look at it until Monday, the whole world could come falling down.
Seriously.
Dude, screw corporate America. I can't stand it. And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate your disdain. I like that for you bringing that to us. But let's get as far away from that as we can. What do you think?
Yeah, let's put that rant aside.
Let's turn and run from that conversation. Let's talk a little football. Let's talk a little football. Let's start in college.
I need this in my life right now.
Let's talk a little college football. And I want to start because there is a crime against humanity, okay? There are irresponsible actors at play, and frankly, I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of seeing it, and that is the beloved AP poll.
Yeah,
new one came out.
Some beef, and I love the people that have finally started doing digging into this after so many years, because I feel like we have just so blindly followed the AP polls with not really like looking into the details of it all. and like who's voting and how they're voting.
No, we've just accepted it. We've just taken it all in.
Like, we forget that these polls are voted on by hundreds of voters every single week. It's not just like 10, 15 people, 25 people like it is for the coaches poll. It's hundreds of people, like press from across the country. And I don't know how some of these people still have the ability to vote. I don't know what the criteria is, but it is absolutely cuckoo crazy world how some of these people are voting.
It's gotten out of hand, and frankly, it needs to be stopped. My second piece of that is, how do we become AP voters? Is this enough? Are we doing enough?
First, we got to figure out what the criteria is, and then from there, we can determine what is necessary.
I don't think they know the criteria at this point. Okay, because let me walk you through this thing. Okay, some people are gonna.
And before this, shout out to Barstool Tate, who we got this detailed information from.
You can shout him out. I respect what the man does. I'm not even going to say his name because of where his allegiances lie.
I just got to give out a shout out for people that did the hard work for us.
I'll give him credit. All right. So, AP poll 1 and 2, Ohio State, Penn State. Nobody's got an issue with that. We're all okay with that. SEC voters might have a little issue with that, and that's fine. Play better football. But let me start you at the 3 spot. LSU is all the way up to 3. What do we say about LSU? You can't trust a what?
A Brian Kelly?
You can't trust a Brian Kelly team. Plain and simple. I
don't know how many times we have to go through this exercise. Every single time Brian Kelly gets his team ranked this high, you know what ends up happening? They get absolutely shit on when it comes to a game that truly, truly matters at the end of the season.
Yeah, and did you see his hissy fit he threw after the game?
Oh, he was such a prick.
He was such a whiny little baby. These are fair questions.
Play the clip right here. The first question that they asked was essentially trying to ask without specifically saying it at first of why the run game's struggling so much and why it's not doing so well. And
we just got the win.
He's like, what more do you want from me? We won. And then he points out that did you not see the last play or one of the last plays from scrimmage where they had that 51-yard run? And I'm like, that's the reason we're asking the fucking question, because that pretty much doubled the yards that you had prior to.
When you watch LSU play football, do you think they're the number 3 team in the country?
No, Garrett Nussmeier has, where the expectations were coming into this season, he has vastly underperformed to this point. Their defense has played very well. I will give them credit for their defense, but their offense, which they were talking very highly of coming into this season, is not a championship contending offense at this very moment.
Doesn't feel like number 3. They've got, the AP voters are putting them up there because they got 2 ranked wins, one over Clemson, one over Florida. Both those teams are not where they are supposed to be. They are both seemingly going to have down years or on their way to having down years. And then they beat up on Louisiana Tech. Does that make any sense to you?
Mm-mm.
I don't get it.
It doesn't.
So LSU at 3 really makes my ass itch.
Well, I'll be honest. Just to name a couple teams that I would put over them, no problems whatsoever right now. Miami, I think, has performed very well thus far this season. Like, they actually came in with high expectations preseason, and they have, I would say, exceeded what we even thought was possible for them thus far. Like, they have hit the ground running, and they've had some young freshmen that have really outperformed. So I would easily put them above LSU. And then Oregon. I know Oregon hasn't beaten anybody per se, but they have absolutely slapped everybody that they've played. Like they've done
everything they're supposed to. Exactly. Now, Oregon fell. That makes sense, right? Georgia gets a ranked win. Miami gets a ranked win. So I understand why those guys had to come up. There's no reason Oregon shouldn't be the number 3, other than the fact that the AP voters couldn't find it in their gut to put 3 Big Ten teams 1, 2, 3. That's the reality of it. That's why Dan Lanning and the boys up in Eugene are getting hosed on this one, which, frankly, I don't think they give a shit because they know they're one of the best teams in the country. They know they're going to go out there and beat the hell out of anybody. But LSU at 3, give me a break. Give me a break.
We might look at it, and they're getting all this credit for that win against Clemson and Florida right now. We may look back at that end of the season, and those 2 teams may combine for 10 wins.
Yeah, if they're lucky. I mean, we've spoken at length about Florida's potential issues with their schedule. But also LSU barely beat Clemson. LSU barely beat Florida. LSU only put up 23 on Louisiana Tech. Mm-hmm. So LSU, do me a favor, go back down to 10 where you belong, and so that way in week 8 when you shit down your leg, you can fall out of the top 25 like you're supposed to do. All right? Mm-hmm. But LSU is not the only one that I've got an issue with. They're not the only one. There's another SEC school.
Can I give you my qualm first?
Go ahead, please.
So I think you're aware that Notre Dame has begun the season 0-2, correct?
Yes.
And while both of their losses, I believe, are good losses, they've lost the first 2 games by a combined 4 points to Miami, who we just hyped up as I think is easily a top 5 team in the nation right now, and Texas A&M, who, I don't know, don't look now, but they're coming on. Like, there might be something brewing. I love Mike Elko down there in College Station. It seems like the tides might be turning in Texas A&M. Marcel Reed's playing out of his mind so far this season. Those are 2 really good losses. Like, if you're going to lose 2 games, I have no
Those are the 2 to
problem
lose
with you. But still, it's the fact that you lost both games, right? And there was a voter in the AP who dropped Notre Dame out of their rankings after their loss week 1 to Miami, but then decided to rank them again after losing to Texas A&M at home.
Yeah.
And then there was at least, I want to say it was like 4 or 5 voters that still had Notre Dame in the top 15 at this point as an 0-2 team. It's like,
I'm sorry, you can't be ranked. You can't be ranked. I understand those are quality losses. Get them out of the way early. Because, admittedly, your schedule does get easier being an independent. It just does. Than playing 2 ranked teams right off the jump. But you're 0-2. You have to earn that top 25. And it's disrespectful to some of those teams who are on the outside looking in, who I think you and I have agreed should probably be in that 25, 24, 23 slot. Notre Dame being there, while I do think they're going to finish a top 15 team in the country, I think we'll be having conversations about they may make the playoff. I don't think it's a bad team. But right now, you're not playing like a top 25 team. Show me something. Get yourself back in there. Right now, they shouldn't be ranked, and they're ranked, what, 23, 24? 24.
24, yeah.
Well, let me tell you about, I think, is it Feinbaum, old boy on ESPN, guy that looks like the Planters peanut?
Yeah, Paul Feinbaum.
You know who I'm talking about. His ability to dick ride Bama is incredible, even to this point. And I think it's having an influence. Nothing specific, okay, other than just loving on some Bama. But what I will say is there are AP voters who are still acting like Bama is Nick Saban run. And it's not a thing. They climbed 5 spots after beating a bad Wisconsin team. There's no reason for that. Bama is not Bama of old. That's plain and simple. So for them to climb 5 spots after beating a bottom-of-the-barrel Big Ten. Sorry, Wisconsin fans, that's the reality. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
With their backup quarterback in, nonetheless.
Yeah, I think Bama's going to be fine. They're going to be competitive. I don't think they're going to fight for the title in the SEC this year. But golly, are we watching the same teams out there? Because it's not like they went out and put up. It's not like they put 52 up on Wisconsin. What did they put up? 34? Come on.
38, yeah.
Oh, whoa.
And, yeah. But, dude, just look at what they did rushing in that game. Wisconsin of past, their defense, I guess, is probably the better of their offense and defense.
Yes.
Alabama still only ran for 72 yards. They averaged 3.5 yards a carry. Their leading rusher was their quarterback with 25 yards.
Yep.
I remember the Alabamas of old where you had Mark Ingram, you had TJ Yeldon, you had Damian Harris, you had Trent Richardson, you had Derrick Henry, Bo Scarborough. And you know how they won as many games as they did? It's because they wore teams down.
Run the damn ball.
By the time it got to the fourth quarter, nobody on the defense wanted to tackle anymore. They're like, fuck this. I have a 6'4", 250-pound running back trying to go through my goddamn face.
Yeah, it's just, do me a favor. Take that rushing attack into Athens. Okay, take that rushing attack down to Auburn or into College Station. Bama fans, let me know how that goes for you.
There's no way they expect for Ty Simpson to go off for almost 400 yards and 4 touchdowns every single week.
It's not going to happen. He's not at that level quarterback yet.
If they think that's a possibility, shit, I got some fucking real estate to sell you. I got a fucking pipe dream. I can sell you. Get rich quick.
Real quick. Just give me a little bit of money. We'll make it work.
Sorry, I'm swearing a lot. I don't know why that got me so riled up.
Heated. Hot and bothered, some might say. But there's one more team that I would be remiss if we didn't comment, being from the great state of Iowa, and that is the Iowa State Cyclones. Okay?
Which, first off, clap it up.
Yeah, no.
Top 15 team. Top 15 team. 4-0.
I like the Clones. I like Iowa State this year. I think they're winning the Big 12 this year. They're a quality program. That is for certain. They struggled. They set up a year ago, home and home, with Arkansas State. Arkansas State came up. Now they went to Arkansas State, and they struggled. It was a hangover game after a big win against Iowa. It made sense. I'm not knocking the win. Good for you to go out and get the win. But for you to climb 2 spots up to 12 after not having a great game, I didn't think they should fall. I thought they should have stayed right where they were. I don't understand climbing after, honestly, at one point in time, they were not in control of that game, and it was looking a little bleak. So,
honestly, if we're having a moment of trust right now.
Oh, bring it in.
When we think about it, Iowa State has not. They may be 4-0, but it might be one of the least impressive 4-0s in the entire country. Looking back at it, they beat 17th ranked Kansas State week 0. We've now learned that Kansas State is an absolute dumpster fire. They might finish last in the Big 12 this season. They blow out South Dakota, which is good. Which is a good win. That they're a powerhouse in the FCS, so can't complain there. Barely squeak by Iowa. I get in-state rivalry game. It's usually a tight game. But then you go on the road to Arkansas State, and you barely squeak by with a one-possession win. Like, it doesn't scream confidence by any means.
No, and they're lucky because they have this week off. And next week, they're playing at home against Arizona. If you want to solidify yourself and change people like you, Isaiah, change your mind, because I don't disagree. It's not a super impressive 4-0, but it's 4-0. They're playing well. Arizona's going to come in with a quarterback that knows how to sling it. If you can go dominate that game, you're going to be in a really, really good spot and probably change folks like you, your minds. So Iowa State's going to hang in there. I'm not mad that they're top 15 by any means. It didn't make sense climbing 2 after a less than quality win. So I think that's everything for the AP poll. I just wanted to make sure that we were hitting on that and the atrocities that were taking place in the top 25. Because I don't know about you, I put a lot of weight into the top 25. I know with this new college football dynamic, it has changed quite a bit, and maybe the top 25 isn't as important. For me, it's still a gauge of where the entire landscape of college football is at. So that's my bit on the AP.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, and I think that you can say this about almost anything in life. It's great as a starting point, but you need to be able to do your own research as well and critically think through something like this, because it's not as simple as just ranking 1 through 25. It's not that simple. We know it's not that simple. Going back to whenever the polls started, there's always arguments about where a team should be ranked, blah, blah, blah. Like, nobody's ever going to agree upon it. But you can get a pretty good idea of where a team should be ranked if you do a little bit of research. And Some people just look at that number next to it, and they're just like, oh, yeah, they must be real good, without any sort of second guessing to it, just because the AP voters, which we don't know the criteria for and why these people are the people we should be listening to.
Yeah, so if anybody at the Associated Press wants to give us a call, please do. Number linked below. Please absolutely give us a call because we've got some opinions.
I know when that hotline bling.
Oh.
That can only mean one thing.
They're definitely not calling now.
Zaire and Herb?
No.
Do you want to vote?
I apologize for this remix, folks. This isn't sanctioned. It's not welcomed. I don't know what this is anymore.
Did I just copyright strike ourselves?
We might be in some trouble there. I'm not sure. But hey. YouTube will let us know. YouTube will absolutely let us know if we've crossed the line. All right. So if you don't see our content for a while, we got fucked.
Yeah, we already got to be careful. I didn't tell you the other day. We got a copyright strike on a video.
Which one?
The Vanderbilt one that you did.
Why?
I'd have to go back. It's one
That's
of those
ridiculous
clips that you added to it. Somebody claimed copyright on it.
They can kiss my grits. Listen, if it's not downloadable on Twitter or TikTok, it ain't going in, all right? Ain't doing all this screen recording nonsense. Ridiculous.
Yeah, hard.
But let's get into the slate. I've picked out a couple games for us to talk about. It's an interesting slate of games this weekend. There aren't any like major crazy like oh shit, but there's some really quality matchups along the way in this week's slate of games. I want to take us out to Salt Lake City, Utah first. I don't know if you've heard about what the Utes are doing out there, but something is cooking in the West. Texas Tech Red Raiders are traveling to Utah. Number 17 Tech, number 16 Utah. This is going to be a fun game. Here's the betting lines for you, all right? Utah's favored 2.5, and the over-under is a steep 58.5, which I think is going to hit, but pretty high up there. These teams, man, we're going to be talking about two quarterbacks who are going to put on an absolute show. It's a shame this game is being played at 11 a.m., at least 11 a.m. Central, I should say. Two quarterbacks. You got Devin, I believe it's Dampier. Correct me if I'm Dampier. I feel like it's a little more French than that. Yeah. Dampier. And Baron Morton playing for Texas Tech. Dampier is a dual threat guy. Have you looked him up much?
I know he played for, was it
New Mexico?
New Mexico, that's what it was. Yeah,
New season, Mexico,
and played very well.
Very well, very very well. But he is all of 5'11", if that. He is your ultimate gadget, scramble, running around, moving quarterback. Okay, he's 628 yards, 7 touchdowns, no picks, 73% completion. He's got another 300 on the ground and a touchdown. Whereas you flip to the other side, what's Texas Tech known for? Always has been, always will be, all the way to the Mike. The Mike Leach, you got to swing your sword days. They're known for airing that thing out. Fuck it, Tyreek down there somewhere. Chucking it. Okay? Baron Morton, almost 1,000 yards on the season. He'll break 1,000 in this game. 11 touchdowns, 1 pick, 70%. Isaiah, I think we're going to see a duel out there, brother.
Yeah, it will be a good measuring stick for both teams. Texas Tech, I definitely think, has exceeded expectations thus far this season. I don't think 3-0 is surprising, but they have obliterated everybody that they've played thus far. But again, against cupcakes, they really haven't beaten anybody of note at this point. Utah, on the other side, they have a who have they beaten again? I know they beat UCLA. I'm not impressed by that, but I thought there was another game.
Utah has beat. I think you are. Utah has beaten Cal Poly 63-9, and then last week they beat Utah Wyoming 31-6 up at Wyoming. They spanked the shit out of UCLA, which I know is not impressive given what we know about UCLA now. But they hung 43 on UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Whew. Yeah.
So I know you were super hyped about the over when you first started talking about this game. I question though if Utah will try and slow the pace of the game down ever so slightly, because they come into this game with the 7th best rushing attack in the entire country. They're averaging almost 300 yards on the ground. So if they wanted to, we know how potent Texas Tech's offense is. They could go down and drive and score in less than a minute. Probably.
Sure, I get what you're saying.
Is that really the team that you want to try and get into a shootout with? Or do you want to kind of ride your strengths, eat up the clock, control the clock, and win maybe what some people might consider a little bit uglier of a game?
I get what you're saying. I do. I think, yeah, that is the logical way to think about how are we going to go win this football game. We're going to control time of possession. We're just going to wear them down because we do have one of the best run games in the country. There's just something in the back of my head telling me that this game is going to be a track meet, that maybe Texas Tech comes out swinging harder than we think, and all of a sudden they've scored on their first 2 drives. And that's not a knock on Utah's defense, who I think is improving, continuing to get better. But Texas Tech offense they can hit you in one play, and all of a sudden you're down 7. And then they come out with a 5-play drive and score again. All of a sudden we're down 14. So I wonder if Texas Tech gets ahead, how quickly Utah has to adjust to, hey, we got to air the thing out. But part of that comes down to that offensive line. I know you've seen the notes, but they got some big uns up front, brother. They got some big boys. And some are saying the best left tackle in football right now. Okay.
I was going to say potential number 1 overall pick.
Fano, right? I'm fairly certain that's the kid's name. The coolest part is this. 4 of the 5 offensive linemen are all Utah grown. They all went to high school and recruited out of Utah, which I know is a Utah thing. But, man, they're averaging 6'6", 310 pounds. That might not sound big. It's big. The shortest guy on their starting O-line is 6'5". Normally, you've got a center sitting around 6'2", 6'3", maybe 6'4". Their center's 6'6", almost 320 pounds. Those big boys up front are going to do some things, and I think that speaks to the run game. So it'll be interesting to see. I wonder if they do try to control it, but if Tech comes out swinging, Utah is going to have to match. And Dampier might be the guy to do it.
And then the question on the flip side, you already touched on how potent Texas Tech's passing offense is. So then the real question becomes, can Utah get enough pressure to make more uncomfortable in the pocket? Speed up his decision making a little bit. Don't allow him to just sit back in the pocket, make his reads, and complete passes downfield, right? And that's where I'm slightly concerned because Utah's pass rush is kind of all dependent upon this dude, his name, A1 name, by the way, John Henry Daly.
That's a football name. That's a football name right there.
Who has 5 of their 9 sacks so far this year. The next most on the team is 1.5. So if they're able to scheme for him and they're not worried about, and nobody else on that line can get pressure, Morton could be in for another big game. Even though Utah's defense, now that I look at it, is the 7th rated defense per SPF or SP+.
Oh, they're that high.
Which is what he has. Yeah.
That makes it interesting. I knew Utah's defense was good. I thought they were improving. I didn't know they were ranked that high. Again, who have you played to this point? This is, like you said, this is the measuring stick. You're going to find out what your football program's all about on Saturday at 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it does swing Utah's way, just being at home, and I personally just think they're going to try and slow it down. That's their biggest strength. You mentioned the offensive line. We've mentioned their strengths in the rushing attack. I think that's the way they win this game. They're not going to win it by trying to have a shootout with them.
Watch Dampier have like 250 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns, another 150 and a touchdown on the ground, and just absolutely cooking dudes. By the way, he's another one of these guys we really need to start having in these Heisman conversations. Morton's finding his way in there, but the duality of Dampier is impressive. I'm excited. I'm taking Utah as well. I am hammering this over, though. I don't disagree that they very well could do what you say they're going to do. I think it's going to be dependent on Tech. Give me the over. I would tease it. I maybe 63.5, 65.5. I don't know. Run this thing to the moon. Put the mortgage on it. Spend your kids' college tuition on this one. That's what I'm saying.
Just to temper your expectations, Devin Dampier's previous single game passing yardage was last week against Wyoming. You want to know how many yards he passed for?
195.
230.
Hey, what better day to do it than against the Red Raiders, baby? What a better day to do it. Go out there and get you some. Go out there and get you some. I like the Utes. I like the Utes a lot.
Just saying.
Isn't Cam Reisinger their quarterback's coach? Or a part of that offensive staff? Or Cam Rising? The 8th year All-American? I think he's on their coaching staff now.
They can't seem to get rid of him.
I mean, the guy's
rid of him, so yeah.
He's got to own real estate in Salt Lake at this point. He's got to own a lot of real estate, maybe 2 or 3 businesses as well, because he is locked into being there. So, all right, both taking Utah. I like that a lot.
It says he's the offensive coordinator at his alma mater, his high school in California.
Hey, shout out Cam Rising, doing it for the kids. Shout out to Cam. Doing it for the kids. I bet you he's doing TikTok dances on some high school football page.
Jesus.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Oh, easy now, big fella. All right, so that is Texas Tech, Utah. Buckle up, folks, because we're going to switch over to the Big Ten for these next 2 games. And the first one is kind of a weird matchup of two top 20 teams that it doesn't make any sense to me, but they're there and they deserve it. When number 9 Illinois travels to Bloomington to take on number 19 Indiana. I'm going to give you the betting odds, and then I want to hear you tell me all about these teams here. Indiana at home favored -6.5, and the over/under is at 54.5. These are 2 teams in the Big Ten that are interesting. to say the least. So what do you know about these boys here, Isaiah?
First off, that statement that you said to lead this, ranked Illinois versus a ranked Indiana,
weird,
are a sentence that does not happen. You want to know how infrequently it happens? It hasn't happened since 1950. Back when they still wore the leather helmets, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the heyday of football.
That's how long these two teams have been irrelevant.
Wow, 1950. So 75 years?
Just kidding. I might have been wrong.
Oh, don't quote us.
Saturday. It says Illinois, Indiana hasn't been a matchup of ranked teams since 1950. I was shocked at that, Illinois coach Brett Bielema said. And Saturday will mark the first game of AP top 20 teams in Bloomington, Indiana, since 1987.
How does that work?
That completely
aren't those contradictory
statements?
That's what
I'm saying. I'm confused now.
Those are mutually exclusive things.
So I'm confused again.
75 years sounds a hell of a lot better. That's what we're going with.
Yeah, we'll stick to our guns on that one. But two teams. I know you've already spoken a couple times on how you kind of think it's blasphemy that Illinois is rated as high as they are. And I don't know if I disagree with you. I think it's just the bias that I have in the back of my head when thinking of both of these two teams and the struggles that they have had over the years, where you just never think of them as upper echelon college football teams. And now we're talking a top 20 matchup right now that's really just playing with my head, that I can't get a read on this game whatsoever.
Well, and the good news is that neither one of them have played anybody of real note, unless you count Illinois going to Duke, which I'll give Duke a little bit of flowers. That program over the previous few years has been on the come up. But neither team has played a soul. I mean, we're talking about teams like Western Michigan, Western Illinois, Indiana State. You're supposed to beat them. You have more funding. Your guys are twice the size of them, twice the speed. So it's a night game, though. And since the days of Michael Penix, there's been something special about playing in Bloomington under the lights. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be slow, though, starting off, for sure. I think these are going to be like two prize fighters kind of just feeling each other out for the first quarter or two. So, yeah, Indiana and Illinois. Isn't it weird that we're talking about Illinois like they're this year's Indiana?
Dude, I haven't thought about Illinois in a football sense since the days of Juice Williams. I remember those years vividly from when I was back in like middle school.
Well, hey, don't forget about it. Just after that, Nate Shieldhouse came in, and I think he got about 8 wins, and it was a big deal in Champaign. All right, it was a big. Growing up in Illinois, it was a big deal. Nate Shieldhouse for Heisman wasn't even close, but that's how you would have thought it was going in Illinois. But it's super, super interesting that like we were sitting here last year talking about Indiana. It's like, holy cow, what a surprise! What is going on? And I think that's where some of my questioning of Illinois comes from. Is like, are they supposed to be there? Are they good enough to be there? I don't know. Number 9 in the country for the Illini is very interesting. Let me hit you with a couple of things, though, about the history of this game, or at least these coaches. And so you have a better understanding. So when I ask you for your pick, you've got an idea here, all right? Curt Cignetti, okay, Coach of the Year. Big deal. Curt Cignetti is 11-0 at home since he took over at Indiana. Safe to say right now the Hoosiers don't lose at home. While Brett Bielema is 5-6 against ranked opponents. Oh.
Question, Professor?
Yes, Mr. Matthews in the back.
Can you tell me who the heck Indiana has beaten in those 11 games? Should I actually be impressed by this?
Yeah, I think you should. No, I don't have all 11 in front of me. But They're playing a Big Ten schedule.
Have they beaten anybody of note at home?
Well, let's take a look.
And we've already talked about
now.
We've already talked about how top heavy the Big Ten is.
All right, last season, okay, they beat FIU and Western Illinois at home. They beat Charlotte at home. They beat Maryland at home. Maryland at home. They beat that shit ass team on your chest. They mollywopped them at home, 56-7 last year. Okay, and then they beat Washington at home as well, and Michigan at home. So not completely like.
Okay, you wait, take a step back. You're gonna trash my program. You guys went and lost too.
Yeah, we lost a respectable 20-15. You guys got shellacked 56-7.
Yeah,
we are not the same. We are not the same.
I think the team that had the most wins out of the ones that you named was Washington. I think they had 7 wins last year. So no, I'm not impressed by that stat anymore. So they essentially won every game at home that they should have won.
I don't think that going into last season, I don't think that to be true at all. I don't think anyone thought that that's what that was going to turn into.
But
right?
Knowing what we know now and looking back at it.
Sure, I get where you're coming from, but I'm not going to sit here and knock an 11-0 team at home. That's a big deal in college football. SEC, I get it happens, all this and that about, what is it, Georgia's at 30 straight home wins or something like that? Some crazy-ass number. I don't know what it is. But 11-0 is a big deal for me. They've beat some quality Big Ten teams along the way. Brett Bielema, since he took over the Illini, is 5-6 against ranked opponents. Most notably, last year beat Nebraska. 2 years ago beat Nebraska. And last year they beat Michigan and South Carolina, which was a bowl game, but nonetheless a ranked win. So tell me a little bit what you do know about this game here, Isaiah.
I do know Indiana might be the best rushing attack in the entire country up to this point. But that brings us to the second point here, which is their starter is out for this game. And I think he has almost like 250 yards or something already this season.
Maybe even more.
It was 209. He's not even the leading.
Is it 209?
They have 3 dudes that already have 3 rushers, or 3 dudes that have more than 200 yards rushing. That's wild.
Yeah, it is.
So maybe he won't be as missed as much as we might think, considering they still have 2 very competent backs. I think this is going to be a real question as to the whole transfer portal quarterback thing, because Mendoza was pretty much one of the prize picks in the quarterback transfer carousel this offseason, and he had a lot of schools that were looking at him, and he decided to go to Indiana, which I think surprised a good handful of people. And I wasn't super sold at him with Cal last year, and I think that might have been just because of how poorly Cal was, or how poor Cal was in the
It's Cal.
Things.
It's Cal.
So I think this will give us a better idea of what we can expect the rest of the season from Mendoza. I will say, from an Illinois perspective, I'm worried. While I do like Altmaier, he's had some really good games in his career at Illinois. They are really one-dimensional when it comes to their passing attack right now. Their leading receiver, Hank Beatty, has 289 yards. The next most on the team is 86. If Indiana can game plan for him, which I know they will be, considering those stats right there, is anybody else going to be able to step up in his place?
Yeah. And hey,
otherwise,
don't forget,
this is all going to. Yeah, what?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say otherwise it falls completely on Luke Altmaier to try and carry this because their rushing attack isn't all that impressive up to this point. It's not as explosive, maybe I should say, compared to Indiana's. So while they might be able to control the clock slightly, they're still gonna have to make plays in the passing game, which could prove to be difficult depending on how they go about matching up on him on the outside.
Yeah, I get that. And what I was going to say is, don't forget Luke Altmaier is also a transfer, which isn't like a crazy thing anymore. And he's been at Illinois for 2 seasons before this, but an Ole Miss transfer. So a little bit of a transfer bowl at quarterback. Kind of like that. Here's my question for you wrapping up this game before we get to our picks on this one. Does the winner of this game have a real shot at playing for a Big Ten title?
Gotta look at their schedules real fast.
Because I think this is going to be a sneaky game where either one of these teams could, after this, explode and take off and be a sneaky little representative in Indianapolis come Big Ten championship time.
Well, Indiana has to play Oregon and Penn State, both on the road. So even if Indiana wins this game, I don't think they're going to win those games. So by process of elimination, I'm going to rule them out. Illinois, on the other hand, they have USC at home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of I might be jumping on the USC bandwagon here shortly,
though. Easy.
And then Ohio State at home. So I think just with those schedules, it's going to be tough.
Their hardest game for me, in my opinion, in Illinois is traveling to Purdue, and not because it's Purdue, but because weird things happen when ranked teams go into Purdue. Not saying I'm locking it for the W, but that'll be their trap game. Like you said, their 2 toughest games are at home. That's a blessing for Brett Bielema and the boys.
Plus, isn't that a rivalry game too?
It is. It's border war. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the Governor's Cup. My apologies.
Sorry.
Illinois and Purdue are still a rivalry game. It's a border state thing. Not as hyped as Indiana Purdue.
No. Okay.
So give me your pick. Who are you taking?
I think Illinois. I think Indiana is going to win this game. I think their rushing attack is too good, and I think Altmaier is going to struggle in the passing game, and their rushing game's not going to pick it up. I don't think it's going to be a super high scoring game. I would probably lean under on the over-under early season conference game. I would probably go under with that, especially with how good both of these rushing attacks are, and just the coaches themselves. Brett Bielema has always been known as a ground and pound dude. That's how he knows how to win these games. So,
I would agree. I think now, do you like the spread, or do you like it just money lining it?
Spread. Ooh. I would probably just take money line.
Money line.
I don't know what the odds are on it.
Yeah. I would agree with you. I think the run game is going to dominate this game. I think it's going to be a slower moving game, especially the first half. Over bettors beware. I know life's too short to bet the under, but I don't love how high this over-under's at. Hot little take. Indiana at some point, maybe in this game, I'm not sure, could set the single game Big Ten record, which is like almost 500 yards for team rushing. It's an insane number. Wisconsin put it up years ago with Melvin Gordon, Monty Ball in that era. It'd be kind of cool to see that under the lights on the Big Ten Network. Indiana just goes bananas and rushes for like 550, 600 yards as a team. That would be absolutely insane. Mendoza's too good for you to do that, but we can hope. All right, so we're sticking in the Big Ten, Isaiah. And this is a hot little game for you and I. This is a Don't Quote Us Sports rivalry week. You know why? Folks? Because the Michigan Wolverines are heading to that shithole Lincoln, Nebraska to go play some sad sack team called the Nebraska Cornhuskers. What even is a Cornhusker, Isaiah? Huh? It's somebody who shucks corn. Congrats. Real intimidating. This one's going to be hot and heavy, folks. Buckle up. Let me hit you with these betting lines. I don't even know what the betting line. I don't even care what the betting lines are.
I didn't get that far.
Because it's Michigan by a bazillion points, baby.
I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Well, Herb, I'll be honest. I'm getting a lot of hater energy right now. And by the end of this weekend, I think it's going to be deserved. And you know why I say that? Because I think we, as a fan base and a team, we may be back. This might be the turning point in Nebraska football. Like you said, we have not been relevant. Well, okay, we were a little bit relevant there in like the 2010s, a little bit with Taylor Martinez and Ndamukong Suh roaming out there. But before that...
Ndamukong Suh was the only reason you were relevant.
But before that...
Only reason.
Yes, before that, it was, the early 2000s, late 90s when we were last relevant. So it's been a long time coming. But we have started to see the tides turn ever so slightly. And when I say that, Nebraska week 1, you know what they did? They actually won a one-score game. And I know you probably haven't been following Nebraska football as closely as I have. That is something in previous seasons that is unheard of. We have found a way to lose every single one-score game imaginable over the course of the last, going back to the Scott Frost era. We just never learned how to close games, I guess. But I think we have learned. Matt Rule, and if you're not aware, Matt Rule is notorious for third-year bumps with Baylor and Temple. They went from being god-awful the first season to year 3. I believe that they at least played for their conference titles. I could be mistaken. Don't quote me, but I believe they did. I believe they have. And I go back to the point I made last week. We are upset. The audacity that Michigan shows by their coach, Sharon Moore, choosing this game, well, and the Central Michigan game last week, but he's actually not been a part around the team all week leading up to this game. So it is entirely on a sleeve, a Biff Poggi and sleeves, which I'm not as scared about anymore. I'm not as worried anymore because of them sleeves. But Sharon Moore decided this was one of those games he was willing to miss. That's how much confidence he has in his team to win this game. And you know what I have to say to that? To hell with him. We get up for games like this now.
The hell with him. The hell with Sharon Moore, huh? All right.
No, not just to Sharon Moore. Not just Sharon Moore. To all of Michigan. It has to be one of the most embarrassing things ever that you guys brag about having one of the biggest stadium in North America that seats how many? 110, 112,000 people?
Close to 117 standing room only.
And yet it is still notorious for not being one of the loudest environments in all of college football. It is hilarious to me.
Am I missing something? You ever been to a game at the Big House?
I have, actually. It was a ranked game against Wisconsin
rocking.
with Jonathan Taylor was still there.
And that motherfucker was rocking.
Not compared to other stadiums because of the way that
rocking more than that dump that you call Memorial Stadium.
I don't know about that, big boy.
Dump.
You got to remember, them people in Nebraska, they don't have anything else to cheer for.
No, I'm well aware that this is probably their Super Bowl.
Game day.
I mean, people are going to be getting engaged at this game.
Game day on Saturdays. turns Memorial Stadium into I believe, the largest city in all of. No, probably the second largest or third largest. But still, the point stands. A lot of people fucking show up, and it's gonna get loud there.
Yeah, but like you said, they have nothing else to do other than touch their cousins and tip cows. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, buddy, we're talking Nebraska. We're not talking Alabama.
and if you don't think Missouri's in the Midwest, I was going to say Nebraska's the Alabama of the Midwest, but Missouri hangs around in the Midwest, so I'll give them credit there. But let's actually talk about the game now that we've gotten the shit talking out of the way. Okay? You have a quarterback in Dylan Raiola that is trying to prove that he is one of the elite quarterbacks, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country. Right? I mean, the guy literally copy and paste everything Patrick Mahomes does, right? Which is, I'm not going to lie, a little cringy, even if they're not playing Michigan. It's a little cringy at times. I think we can both agree. Be your own guy. But so you've got Raiola, who is a very good quarterback. And then on the other side of the ball, you've got this Bryce Underwood kid, the $10 million man, who just had his coming out party last week against Central Michigan. This game's going to be fun. There's going to be turnovers. There's going to be big swings in this game. I still think it's go blue, but it's going to be competitive. And I will give Nebraska credit there. Their run game is wildly underrated, I think. I think it is wildly underrated. It can't hold a fucking candle to Justice Haynes, okay? But it is a very, very good Big Ten running attack. So I'll give you credit there, Isaiah. Emmett Johnson. I like Emmett Johnson. Just not this week.
I think it's hit or miss with the rushing attack. The one piece, I love the weapons that we have this year for Raiola. My concern going into this game is, for some reason, we are going to put the leash back on Raiola after letting him sling it the last couple of weeks. Because we know he can do it. And I think that was part of our issues last season, where we just didn't allow him to take shots. Like, he is one of those quarterbacks that you can't put into a box and just have him be a dink and dunk dude. Like, for this offense to be successful, you need to be able to take shots. And we have a couple of dudes now that we can take shots with, between Dane K, Ja'Cory Barney, who you better watch. That dude's a speedster if you get him the ball in space, and Isaiah Hunter. Not to mention the tight end, Lindenmeyer, has some of the best hands of a tight end in the entire country. So they go 5-6 deep at receiver. So that gives me confidence.
I'll admit, like, the last three, or under Rule, the question has been, like, how are you going to succeed without a quality receiver room with this quarterback? I will give Matt Rule credit that he went out and found dudes at the receiver position, because they've always been able to run the ball all the way back to the Rex Burkhead and Amir Abdullah days, and well before that. But the question was, can they air it out in this modern era? Yeah, they have improved things with Raiola and that receiver room. Again, I'm giving them credit because I don't hate them any other week than this week. They're going to find themselves in a blender, though, with this defense. I don't know if you've watched this Michigan defense. It is violent. It is fast. And they love going after the quarterback. Raiola may find himself on his back for a lot of this game.
Sorry, just looking at a couple things. And I will pay respects. We've talked multiple times off the pod during Michigan games. Justice Haynes is wildly underrated still at this point somehow. I don't know how, considering he has almost 400 yards across 3 games. So I don't know how that's possible still. That dude, every time he touches the ball, has the opportunity to take it to the house. I want to try and phone a friend.
We're bringing lifelines into this thing now?
If you didn't know, my wife is from Omaha, Nebraska, which
is not Lincoln. I want to make that very clear. It is not Lincoln.
which in turn makes her a ginormous Husker fan. And by all things considered, everybody else that she knows, ginormous Husker fans. So I have a lot of Huskers in my phone contacts. Are you comfortable with me giving one a call to get their quick insight to
Yeah,
how a
you think
Nebraska fan is feeling?
you think I'm scared of big red? You think I'm scared of that crap? No chance, cuzzo. No chance.
Okay, here we go. Wait, there's two people. Should I call my father-in-law?
You
Nah.
listen. You call whoever wants this smoke.
Okay, Spence. So we have you on the line. Don't Quote Sports with AJ Herb, who is a diehard Michigan fan, and we're talking Nebraska, Michigan taking happening this weekend. And I need to know straight from the source, straight from a diehard Nebraska fan themselves. How are you feeling leading up to this game? Anything you have to say to a Michigan fan leading
Watch
up
your
to
mouth.
this heated matchup?
Watch your mouth now.
Well, I'm just kind of curious, how they're going to do without, Connor Stallions on the sideline. That's a good question. Other than that, as a Nebraska fan, I mean, we've lived through a lot over the last 10 years, and now I think we've got this thing going the right way. I think secretly, quietly, I think Nebraska's feeling a little bit of disrespect that Coach Moore thought it was good to go ahead and use a game of suspension on this game. I think Nebraska, I think their defensive backs are outstanding. I think they're gonna have to bring a lot of pressure on Bryce to keep him in the pocket a little bit. But I'm, as a Nebraska fan, feeling good. I'm not gonna go over the top, but I'm thinking 27-18 Nebraska.
Ooh. Okay, so it sounds like you're not scared of the $10 million quarterback that they have there roaming in Ann Arbor.
No, not scared. Not scared.
You should be. You absolutely should be.
I tell you what, because he did what he did against Central Michigan, that brings not a lot of fear to me. So if he would have done that against Oklahoma, I'd say, Herb, you got a good thing going. Hey, he's a tremendous talent, but you are playing game number 4 in an environment that he has never been involved in, and you've got a sophomore quarterback playing game 17 that is got the best offensive coordinator, and Wink Martindale's a tremendous defensive coordinator. But it is going to be a good old Big Ten bludgeon fest, which I am so looking forward to. Again, Herb, tremendously talented. Central Michigan is not Nebraska.
Preach to them.
Just like Akron and Holt and Houston Christian, not Michigan. I agree with that 1,000,000%. But I am telling you right now, he is going to see defensive packages from Butler that he has never seen before. So you got 10 years of NFL experience, getting ready to throw a whole lot of disguises at him. So, hey, I hope for a good game. But I like Nebraska's chances. I really do.
See, and I think the handcuffs are off this young man. Biff Poggi is like, screw it. We're going to let him air this thing out. We're going to let him create. We're going to have Picasso back there absolutely painting him alive. This thing is going to be I agree. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Spence, what I want to tell you is, and I've said it already today, but I respect Matt Rule. I like what he's doing. I respect Dylan Raiola. He is an incredible talent. I think he's working his way towards being one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten and in the country. I like Ernest Johnson a lot. I just don't think you guys have the horses to keep up. It's going to be a track meet at some point.
Absolutely. I think it will be an absolute track meet, and I think that's finally where the Dane Keys, the Isaiah Hunters, the Ja'Cory Barneys, I think having Luke Lindenmeyer, not so much being a receiving tight end, but being a big integral part of that running game. Again, it's a big, Michigan defensive line front seven, and good old Ernest Hausman coming back to Lincoln is a great thing. But I think when you look at the defense, I think Raiola, if he does what he is capable of doing, I think he's got a really good game ahead of him with the secondary of Michigan against Nebraska's receivers.
See, and I think this Michigan defense is going to have Raiola looking up at the sky from his back more often than not.
Yeah, yep, and that will be the great chess match in this one is that again, Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati has turned out to be better than a lot of people thought they were, and I think. But again, you can take the handcuffs off of Underwood and cut them loose. But if and I know it's a huge if because we do not have a lot of pressure right now from the defensive line. If they do a good job and they can keep him in the pocket, I guarantee you the one thing Nebraska does not fear is him sitting back there throwing the ball all over the field against that defensive backs. So I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait for 3:30 Eastern Coast time. For this baby to get rolling. So, absolutely.
Okay, Spence, one last question before we'll let you get back to being a father. If Nebraska does end up winning this game, how bought in are you? Are you booking the ticket to – do they still have the Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis?
Yes.
Are you booking the ticket to Indy?
Absolutely not.
No?
I think the discussion will definitely be there, and this is the one thing I love about their coaching staff is Rule, Butler, Holgerson, Eckler, all those guys. They will not let them get big heads. They will not allow them to walk through the hallways of the facilities and blow it out of proportion. What I feel I think this is a big prove it game for Nebraska because of the M that's on the side of the helmet and the maize and the blue that's coming? Absolutely. But as far as booking hotels and tickets and stuff like that, I will drive to Charlotte when I feel that comfortable, and I will pick up a couple of people and take them to Charlotte or Indy with me. Absolutely.
Okay. So we'll hold it off for another couple of weeks if they do win.
There you go. And I tell you what, if they do this and then they take the week off and then they go and they play Michigan State, and again, Michigan State is what they are. But if they can build some momentum and they do this against, if they're this confident, this good against USC, then I will absolutely take a look at booking tickets.
Oh shit, that's all it's gonna take, eh? Okay. Well, we might have to give you a call back once we get to that USC game.
And Spence, I'm going to tell you this, Spence, right now. You guys are going to absolutely throttle Iowa on Black Friday. Absolutely shellac them. So come Black Friday, I absolutely will be a Skurs fan for the day.
You know what? We look forward to having you. We might have to, inflate the tires a little bit, but we'd love to have you on the bandwagon, baby.
Okay, Spence. Thank you.
You're welcome, boys. Hey, have a great day.
Yep, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
See you, man. Bye.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna give you some respect points right now because you didn't bring in some over the top, unrealistic Skurs fan like somebody we know who lives on the East Coast. Okay, who would have came in here and told me about how great Dylan Raiola is and how this isn't even going to be a ball game. That's a man who understands who the coaches are on the Michigan sideline, regardless of Sharon Moore. Okay, regardless. Biff Poggi, Wink are going to have those boys up and ready. I'm calling this game at 35-10.
Oh, Jesus.
Maybe 14. You guys might get 2 scores on us.
Jesus.
Our defense is going to be the difference. I don't think people are paying attention to this defense right now, and I'm happy about it. Don't talk about us because we are going to go around and smack dudes. Also, I don't know if Nebraska is a tougher play than Norman, Oklahoma, to be honest with you, in terms of environment. I'm not sure. They're probably fairly comparable.
Not sure. I won't opine on that one. But I obviously have to pick the good old Nebraska Cornhuskers. I think it'll be close, but I don't until Bryce can go out there against a high level opponent and actually do it. I'm going to reserve doubt in the back of my head. Plus, you are without your head coach. That does give me pause. I think it will be a 24-20 Nebraska Huskers win.
All right.
That's what I'm feeling right now. I feel like Spencer said, while we might not be able to rush the passer the best, that might actually be beneficial in terms of this game if we aren't getting home and actually forcing Bryce Underwood to throw. Because I think you would agree with me, much more concerned about his ability to throw the ball at this point than you are seeing him run the ball.
He is, well, really last week was the first time we've gotten to see him. You got to remember that game against New Mexico, he didn't run once. He stayed up in there. I think you are going to be shocked by his ability in the pocket. I think it is better than what we've seen. And I think a lot of this has to do with Poggi running this thing right now. And I'm not knocking Coach Moore. Hell of a recruiter, can run the program well. But he absolutely made the right decisions bringing Poggi and Wink in, because I think that's where our true strength is. But listen, because this is a don't quote us rivalry here, bud. What are we putting on this?
Oh, I was thinking about this, and I think I have a good one.
Hit me.
I think I have a good one. Loser has to shave their facial hair, mutton chops, for the next. You want to do a week?
For the next episode, you got to grow yours out some there, bud. You're rocking that 15-year-old prepubescent deal. You got to get a little depth in it there, brother.
Sorry, I like the clean look.
All right.
Unless you got something better in mind.
No, I was going to mail you some Michigan gear to put on after we get this dub.
No, thank you. I won't make you spend the money. I'll just make you shave your face. Oh, maybe not mutton chops. Maybe I just make you do a soul patch.
Just soul patch and mustache, maybe? That could be a vibe.
No,
hey, man.
Maybe.
Hey, man. What's up, man?
But I feel like just the soul patch might be the play.
I'll keep growing it out for you. I trimmed it up the other day. So, all right. So last bit of college football, we're just going to speed run this thing real quick. I'm going to give you 4 or 5 games. Just tell me who you like, okay?
Okay.
First game, Civil War up in Oregon. Oregon State Beavers go to Eugene, Oregon. Perfect. Tulane, Ole Miss. Ole Miss is ranked. Tulane's got something to prove. Retzloff, who you got?
Oh, dude, I was talking in this game up at work today. Part of me really does want to pick. Dude, there's so many good storylines in this game because you got Trinidad Campbell starting again.
Oh, we got to double check his last name. We might have his last name wrong.
Campbell?
I'm not sure if it's Campbell.
I'm pretty positive.
Double check that.
Oh, Chambliss. Fuck.
Yeah, I thought so.
God damn it.
All right. Who you got, though?
Sorry, Trinidad. Fuck it, Tulane.
I'm taking Tulane as well. Love that. All right. Auburn goes into Norman. Jackson Arnold leading the War Eagle, going back home to where he just left. John Mateer's been our guy. Who you got?
Oh, Oklahoma walks them.
Oklahoma walks them. All right. 2 more games. 2 more. All right. Florida, Miami.
Oh, Miami might win that game by 40.
That's what I wanted to hear. And then this last one, which not a lot of people are talking about, Michigan State travels to USC. I know Michigan State has had troubles. I know USC is on the rise. But that's an interesting matchup for me. Who you got?
I'll be honest, like I said earlier in this episode, I think I might be slowly buying up some USC stock.
Hey.
Fight
on, baby. Fight on.
I'm starting to put some respect on Mayaba. Yeah, Mayaba. He's better. I'll be honest. He's better than I expected him to be.
He's doing it
And
quietly, you know?
yeah, and they have two absolute studs out wide.
All right. I think we're both taking SC in that one.
Yep.
So that is it for this week's slate of college football. It's going to be fun. Like I said, not as like super dynamic and crazy, like, oh shit, ranked against ranked all over the place. But there's some fun games along the way. And guess what? Your boys got the whole weekend off. So I'm going to be on my couch locked in on this one.
Good, as you should be. Right where you belong, big fella.
Listen, I don't like working on weekends either, brother. All right. So that's college football. You ready to talk a little professional football, a little National Football League?
Yeah, do we got some games to talk?
We've got a few. Again, this week it's a measuring stick for a lot of these teams, just like in the college side. So I'm going to start off with a game that has quite a bit of controversy surrounding it, okay? When the LA Rams travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Eagles are -3.5 favorites. The over-under is at 4.5. Can I tell you the history behind this game, the recent history behind this game?
I do know that they played in the divisional round last year, if that's where you were going.
They played twice last year, okay? 2 times. The first time was in November when the Eagles beat the Rams 37-20. The reason this is a big game is Saquon sets a career high with 255 yards, has over 300 total all-purpose yards, and has 2 rushing touchdowns. Sets the Eagles single-game record, sets his own personal best. He looked great. Hurts throws for 180 and a touchdown. Stafford's doing Stafford things, throwing for 245 and 2 tuts. Fast forward to the divisional round. This game, that was that snow game. You remember that? What an iconic game that was. That one was a lot closer at 28-20. Saquon goes for another 205, 2 touchdowns. The Eagles have owned this matchup. That's a fact. But why it's so controversial is this. It's what everybody's talking about, Isaiah. It's what we've talked about. This goddamn tush push. I know we've spoken on it, but remind the people where you're at with the old tushy pushy.
I think the biggest thing that I don't think either of us agree that it should be banned from the sport. I think it's a completely fair play if called correctly, if officiated correctly. It's the fact that the Eagles are able to, and you've seen it, it's been under a microscope this entire week since the Kansas City game. You can see the offensive linemen lining up in the neutral zone, and then both guards are both moving before the ball is snapped. And this happened multiple occasions. So what do you expect a defense to do against that?
So
you're already behind the 8 ball because you have 3 dudes behind Hurts pushing him already, and you're allowing them to essentially get a head start. I know it's by milliseconds, but milliseconds in football is ginormous, especially when it comes to jumping on the line. Catch them on their back foot. It's essentially a one play before it even started. And I think that's what's pissing everybody off.
Correct. Is that it's not officiated appropriately. They ran that, 7 times, 8 times in the last game and should have been flagged on 4 or 5 of them. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I'm also not a fan of, when I was coming up in football and learning how to play football, you weren't allowed to advance the runner like that by pushing him in the back. That was a flag. They have gone away from that, so I understand.
Or dragging them a little
Correct.
bit.
You couldn't do it. It was, I forget the name of the penalty. It was like illegal forward progress or something like that, or assisted forward progress. If you aren't going to call it on the guards, then you can't call it on the nose tackle and D tackles lining up at what a lot of people refer to as a credit card alignment. Have you ever heard that?
No.
So credit card alignment is I can't even fit a credit card between your face mask and the ball on the defensive line. Like, that's how tight you got to be on that ball. There's still 2 foot in between those guys. Doesn't matter how close. I mean, they could be over the ball. It's just it is wildly disadvantaged to the defense even if it's officiated correctly. But the fact that it's not officiated correctly is where a lot of my frustration comes from. Yes, they can push, but you have to call the guards on the false start. Plain and simple. And I don't want to hear this, well, the Eagles just have a better offensive line than everybody else's defensive line. I'm not questioning that. Jordan Mailata, Juergens, these guys are incredible, right? Lane Johnson, absolutely incredible football players. This play is not an indicator of who's a better football player. It's a weird little play. Ultimately, I think it's going to end up being outlawed after this year because of all the issues. It's all anyone's talking about. But also it lends itself to the conversation of, is the Eagles' offense actually good? Or are they just effective in those 4th and 1s?
That was going to be my question. Because I had saw some power ranking of quarterbacks after the first 2 weeks, and they had Jalen Hurts all the way up to, I think it was like 6 or 7. I don't know how the dude's a tush-push merchant at this point. He has not done a singular thing through the air through 2 weeks.
Nothing impressive.
I don't know.
Does he even have a passing touchdown?
No.
That's tough. That's tough for me. And I like Hurts. I respect Hurts. He is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. That ad at the end was sick. I mentioned it last episode. But at some point, you are going to have to play football. And you are going to have to be a quarterback. You're going to have to throw the ball. This isn't going to continue to work. Right? Also, I am shocked that we haven't seen them run a fake tush push.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows what's coming. The problem is they boot it, run one crosser deep. I don't know if Hurts can get it there anymore. For example, or for context, he had 101 passing yards in week 1 and 152 in week 2. Any other team in the league would be concerned about what's happening at quarterback if that was the case. I understand that they're a phenomenal football team. That defense is going to carry them into the playoffs, undoubtedly, in my opinion. It's one of those things that it's becoming harder and harder to watch as a fan because it's not entertaining whatsoever. Plus, you have Saquon back there. Let that boy rumble.
I will say I did finally hear of something that could potentially work from, funny enough, Will Compton, Nebraska alum, where he said, you see the offensive doing it, like the offensive players, where they're pushing from behind, right? He is saying that essentially they need to be doing the same thing from a defensive end, almost like a rugby scrum, where they are trying to get push their linemen and like just push the line back, essentially. Don't worry about gaps because they don't really matter in that sort of play.
There isn't a gap. There is no gap.
Yeah. He's just falling on top of his lineman, right? So if it's literally just turning into a rugby scrum and just try and control the line, essentially. And I was like, that could work. But then it, like you said, if they decide to pull out on a boot, it's an easy touchdown or a quick pitch out to the outside. If they're all up on the line and that's what they plan on doing, then you're cooked on a play like that. So,
yep. And truthfully, what and I'm not wishing this, I'm not hoping this. If Hurts injures his back doing this one time, that'll be the end of it. They won't run the tush push again because somebody important got hurt. Hurts got hurt.
The second you lose your $50 million quarterback, we'll put an end to it real quick.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have those conversations. Again, we are not hoping that whatsoever. I'm not like, I want him to get hurt so he stopped doing it. That's not what I want, right? But it's just something's got to give. I think there's going to be some real heated conversations, probably led by the Packers again, come off-season meetings. But outside of that, can we talk about the Rams a little bit?
I would love
because Stafford, there's this looming feeling that anytime he gets touched, it could be over for him, right? This back is who knows. Mm-hmm. But despite all that, he is still going out there doing Matt Stafford things. 543 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, and a QBR of 66, almost 67. He's got weapons on the outside. You know, it's not Demarcus Robinson and Tutu Atwell anymore. It's Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and Tyler Higbee. Is the Baltimore defense electric and young? Are they going to be able to game as well?
Not Baltimore.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Philly, young, right? Are they going to be able to match the gamesmanship of Devontae and Puka and Matt Stafford, who is cerebrally probably the best quarterback remaining in the league? Him and Rodgers are probably up there.
Yeah, I think this will be a good measuring stick for the back end of that defense, for that Philadelphia secondary, because I think that's where a majority of the question marks reside within that defense. I don't think we're as much concerned with the front seven. It's the youth on the back end. You're essentially starting a rookie in Mbake, and then you got 2 second-year players in Cooper DeJean and Keenan Mitchell. I don't think I pronounced his first name right, but Mitchell.
Keenan Mitchell, I believe. There's a Y in that thing.
Yeah. 2 second year. So there's a lot of youth on that back end. And you know who is notorious for being one of the best route runners in the entire NFL, that knows how to expose young cornerbacks that might be a little bit overzealous in coverage. He goes by the name of Devontae Adams, and he happens to wear number 17 for the Los Angeles Rams. I'll be honest, if Stafford stays healthy with what we've seen thus far, with those 2 weapons, with Nacua and Adams on the outside, this offense is scary. But my concern for this game is their offensive line. There's still question marks here. And will they be able to hold up against this Philadelphia Eagles front seven? I don't know if they can. And then the question goes back to what you originally said. Matt Stafford gets touched, and you're holding your breath, it feels like, at this point.
It does feel like they're walking on eggshells. It really, really does. I think a big piece of that is they have not ran the ball well. And that goes back to the offensive line.
That goes back to what we talked about when Kyron signed this extension. What did I say when he signed that extension?
You thought he was overpaid.
He's a good running back, but he's wildly inefficient with the amount of touches that he gets. And you saw what happened when they threw Blake Corum in last week. He exploded. 6 carries, 46 yards, and a tutty.
Yep. And that's why Kyron this week is a no start for me in fantasy. I have him in 2 of my 4 leagues. I think he's going to be fine long-term in terms of fantasy. This week, they are going to ask him to block quite a bit. They're going to ask Higbee to block quite a bit because they don't want Jalen Carter. They don't want Jahad Campbell. They don't want any of those pass rushers getting after Stafford. If they can try to keep Stafford in the pocket and not have to have him get on the outside, they're going to. That'll be the key to success, is how well they slow down that defensive line. A tall task, in my opinion, a very, very tall task.
The real question, I think, that we got to talk about is, will the Rams finally be able to stop Saquon? Because I think that's really what it really comes down to. Because if they allow Saquon to just run all over them again, Eagles will win this one running away. But if the key to success here, force Jalen Hurts to beat you with his arm at this point. And I don't know, we've talked at length about how much we like the LA's defensive line and their just defense in general. Like, they have so many good young defenders on that team. There is no reason. I get that Saquon Barkley is a generational talent and he can do things with a football a lot of people cannot. But this defense should not be getting toasted like that, like they have been the last 2 times that they've played Saquon.
I agree, and I think Jared Verse and Braden Fisk are going to have something to say about that in a big way. If they can get after Hurts and throw him even deeper into whatever this hole he is in, they're going to put their offense in a position to go win this game. This game feels like it's going to come down to a final possession. If Stafford stays healthy the whole game, it feels like it's going to end on a kick, doesn't it? Because last year, regular season, it was a little bit of a blowout. Divisional, it's a one-score game. This feels like it's going to come down to somebody's leg.
Yep.
All right. So who you picking? Give me who you got.
I'm going to go the Rams. I know it's a road game for them, but I don't know how sold I am on the Eagles as of yet. Those offensive concerns scare me, and I'm just going to bank on Saquon not being able to do what he's done the last 2 times against the Rams, and Hurts just not being enough to make up the difference.
I'm going to go with Eagles.
I would not take spread. I'm not going to take the spread, though. I would take Rams plus 3.5, though.
Yeah, no chance I'm taking the spread. I think it's Eagles. I think home field has a big to-do about that. Philly's a tough, nasty place to play. Not that Stafford's unfamiliar with it, but it's a tough place to play. Plus, dude, that young defense for the Eagles is fun to watch. They are flying. I'm going to take the under as well. 44.5. I just don't know if it's going to be high scoring or if it is going to be heavy run dependent in this one. I just don't know. For me, the safer bet is the under on this one, although it is a low under. But don't be shocked if it's like a 17-10 game. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know.
I think there'll be points. I think the losing team scores at least 20. 17. Okay. Even if it's 17.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
17-20 still hits the under on a big kick from one of these guys. So
true. That is true.
All right, let's talk the prime time of prime timeiest games that we have on the slate. This is Monday Night Football, baby. This is Monday Night Football in Baltimore.
Wait. And can we take a second? I don't know if it's just me. The Monday night games thus far have been much better matchups than I remember in recent memory.
Yeah. I've said it. Primetime previously stinks. This year, the NFL, I think, made a conscious decision to go out there and say, hey, these primetime games got to smack. We got to give the people what they want. Let's go out there and put team on team and see, or best on best, and see who's got it, who doesn't. That's what I love. And that's when the Detroit Lions are rolling into Baltimore to take on the Ravens. You ready for these lines here, big fella?
Hit me.
Ravens are minus 5.5. Over-under sitting at 52.5. Both teams are 1-1 with, I don't want to call them shaky starts, especially more so on the Ravens side because you had to play Josh Allen and the Bills in an incredible game 1. But nonetheless, both teams are 1-1, coming in here trying to make a statement. Ravens are trying to say, hey, we are legitimate, we are a top contender, and the Lions are trying to announce themselves even more so than they did last year, which I think they feel like they're on track to do it. But let me hit you with the stat real quick before we get your take. These teams have played 6 times since 1998. Ravens are 5-1. Last time they lost was 2005. Lions won 35-17. A gentleman by the name of Joey Harrington was at the helm for the Lions, and he threw for like 112 yards. And they still came out and won that thing. So take that into consideration. Tell me about this game.
You know what I'm doing with that stat right there? I'm crumpling it up, and I'm throwing it out my window. Because you know why? The Detroit Lions were an absolute dumpster fire of a franchise for
most of that time,
25 years. So to say that they have gone 5-1, they probably should be 5-1, considering some of those teams that they've played. Like, I'm not overtly impressed by that stat. But to be completely honest with you, this game, I can't get a read. I don't know. After week one, I thought too low of the Detroit Lions, and then what they do, bounce back and perform exactly like they did last season. But then on the flip side, the Ravens, they probably should be 2-0. Let's be honest, they should be 2-0. It's not like they should have won that game against Buffalo. The fact that they lost that game is bewildering still to this day. But I just keep finding myself more and more frequently after every game that Lamar Jackson plays, and I'm just watching and I'm just like, how do you stop this guy? He has become such a good thrower in the NFL. I don't even know if I'm more scared of him running at this point or if I am him throwing.
Yeah, he is an incredible talent. He has a stat line, and I think, let me roll back a little bit. He is an absolute talent, okay? You share a lot of the same concerns I do. We don't know which Detroit team is going to show up. That is a real question. I understand where the hype and 52 points last week came from. It was solely between Campbell and Johnson. We've talked ad nauseum about that. I just don't know if this is a hangover game. You are right. Lamar goes stupid. In 2023, when they played, Lamar had 357 passing yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, ran for another almost 40 yards and a touchdown. Detroit, if you can't stop that, he's going to do it again. So buckle up, strap your jock straps on, and go get after. They are going to rely on Hutch in a big way in this game. Not just so much like going and sacking Lamar, but keeping Lamar in the pocket, in my opinion. I just don't know with Detroit. I just don't know which team is going to show up. Also, these are two O-lines that have a lot of question marks on them too. Despite how good they have played at times, we've spoken on the Lions' issues on the O-line. They proved us wrong last week. I don't know if they're going to prove us wrong this week. And then you think about the Ravens O-line, which is you think on paper is a really, really solid O-line anchored by Stanley and Linderbaum, right? Those two are grading out horribly so far this year. So it's going to take some gumption up front. By the way, gumption counts at 4 for the pod. Said it 4 times. I've been keeping track. But they're going to have to find a little gumption, and they're going to have to go out there and really handle an aggressive Detroit defensive line.
That's a great point. But I am slow to put any confidence in the Detroit offensive line after last week because I mentioned it when we spoke last week. I wasn't as stressed during that game because the Bears just don't really have pass rushers that scare you, depending on how you think of Montez Sweat, which, looking at it now, I'm not too scared of. Do the Ravens have somebody that scares you? Depending how you feel about Kyle Van Noy, potentially.
And the issue is Kyle Van Noy is out. That is a huge loss. They're going to be reliant on the rookie out of Marshall, Mike Green, who's shown flashes of being an elite level pass rusher at times, absolute flashes. I'm not saying he is, but we're going to be relying on that guy. Kyle Van Noy brings an attitude and a swagger to that defense, at least up front, that you got to know where he's at. I just don't know that they have that for this game. I think the Kyle Van Noy injury, depending on how long this thing goes for, could be way more impactful than what people are saying right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's a big part of their pass rush. So then it's really going to come down to Matabuke. And if you're expecting your D tackle to be the one pressuring the quarterback, usually not a recipe for success unless your name's Aaron Donald. And we know the way that you beat the Detroit Lions is by pressuring Jared Goff. Don't allow him to get comfortable and make his reads, to find that rhythm within that offense, to do what they did last week. You got to get them behind the sticks. You got to get in his face, and you got to make him think. So that's going to be the question. If the Baltimore defense is able to do that, then I think that they win this game. But if they're not able to get pressure, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game and comes down to whoever has the ball last.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Kind of like we talked about with the Rams and Eagles, is the skill position matchups. On one side, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's playing out of his fucking mind right now. Sam Laporta, who's trying to get back to what he was. He's coming along. You got Jahmyr Gibbs, who we both believe is all-world type running back. So you're going to be relying on Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, and Malachi Starks to go out there and handle business. Now, two of those guys are established veterans. I know Hamilton's young, but he is an established player in this league.
He might be the best safety in the league, let's be completely honest.
Starks is going to be the guy to watch. See if he can rise to the level.
Alexander.
In my opinion, I've damned him so bad. If I'm Baltimore, I'm not putting him on the field for this one. There's not a matchup that I like.
He doesn't. I was going to say the same thing. I don't know how you get him on the field at this point. He's been atrocious.
Any of the skill guys are going to cook his ass, plain and simple. If I'm Baltimore, I'm saying Jair's got a hammy thing. He's out this week because he's a liability out there. You let Keon Coleman cook your ass. What do you think Amon-Ra is going to do to you, or Jamison Williams is going to do to you? The game is passing Jair by. Shout out to the Packers. Smart move. I don't know that I loved it initially, but smart move. So, okay, who are you taking Monday night in Baltimore? What's the official pick?
I'm taking Baltimore. I need to see more from the Lions. I need consistency from the Lions before I start giving them too much. Before I start riding them, I know it's there. We saw it last week. I know they're capable of it, but I need to see it a couple times, especially with this new offense that John Moran's getting going there. I need to see what that truly looks like. So I am going to take the Ravens. I think it's very difficult to beat them at home in a primetime game.
Under the lights in Baltimore? Come on now. Absolutely. I'm also taking Baltimore, but I do think this is going to be a hangover game for the Lions. So I will take Baltimore minus 5.5. I like that. So okay. That's the prime time. Let's speed run just 3-4 games. Just hit me with it, all right? Here we go. Battle of the backups. Bengals Vikings. Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz. What are your thoughts, Mr. Vikings fan?
Dude, I've already talked myself into this, and I know I'm talking more than I should right now. I've already talked myself into the controversy that the Vikings are going to work themselves into. Carson Wentz is going to come out here and do the classic Minnesota Vikings quarterback thing where it's a dude everybody thinks is washed up. He's going to come in, play out of his fucking mind, and then we're going to find ourselves in a quarterback controversy that nobody expected at the beginning of the season, and people are going to be calling for J.J. McCarthy's job. And you know what? I might not disagree with them because I want to win games.
Yeah. Go ahead.
My bet for this, I'm taking Cincinnati and Browning. Browning's already beat the Vikings and Brian Flores a couple years ago after Burrow got injured in 2023. So it reminds me a lot of that game.
I tell you what, if Carson Wentz comes out and balls for 2 straight games, I don't want to be a Vikings fan by any means. Okay? I am taking – by any means. I don't want to be a Vikings fan if that's the situation. I'm going to take the Bengals as well, and I think it's not so much on the arm of Jake Browning. I think they finally get Chase Brown moving forward. That's a guy that they're going to need to get going. So give me the Bengals. All right. Broncos Chargers AFC West battle. We've talked about how impressive we think the AFC West can be. Who you got? It's in LA.
I'm taking LA. I am buying stock now in LA. I'm starting to question. I'm not fully there yet. I don't know if that Denver defense is as good as we thought it was at the beginning of the season.
See, and
Which
I
is
think
crazy to say with the names that they have on that defense. But the way that Herbert is throwing that ball right now, I like LA.
and I'm going to go Broncos because of that reason. I think this is the breakout game for this defense to re-announce themselves to the league. I think as crazy as it is in week 3, this is a make or break kind of game for that defense. You're going to know where you're at, and I think they come out and ball. All right, 2 more. Just kind of a stinker game, but we've talked about them a lot. Cowboys-Bears in Chicago. 2 fat kids leaning on each other at this point. What do you got?
I like the Bears here, honestly. I think Ben Johnson finally is going to start getting. There was flashes of that offense last week. There were some nice things. Is their defense as bad as it was last week against Detroit? I don't think so. And I just don't think Dallas's offense is as scary as Detroit's, right? It's going to be a tight one. I will take the Bears, though. Without a ton of confidence, but I will take the Bears.
After my damnation of them and whatever the hell happened last week, I'm going Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb going to be touching 200 receiving yards. Jalen Johnson might be done for the year for the Bears. All right. Last.
You know what? The pick I like more in that game is the over. I think there'll be a lot of points in that game.
Very well could be. Last game, Sunday night game. Chiefs go to New York. Not an easy win, apparently. Who you got?
Well, since we've riled up so many Chiefs fans in the comments, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. There's no way they lose this game, right?
There's cannot. No way. They cannot lose this game. I'm going Chiefs, but hey, watch out for Cam Scatterbo. He's finding the end zone again. I'll give you that one. All right, we're kind of on the same page. A little flip-floppy, but kind of on the same page.
Before we get into our picks, I told you that I had looked up a stat, and I want to run that, do a blind comparison real fast, and tell me which quarterback you would rather have thus far this season, because I want to see what happens. I need to pull it back up here, so do that little noise where do. Oh,
the Wheel of Fortune?
For like 50.
Or is it, sorry, excuse me, that's Jeopardy.
Yeah.
That's Jeopardy, my apologies.
Yeah, so do that for like 15 seconds while I get this pulled up.
Yeah, I'm not going to, but I will sit here and tell everybody who's listening, quite a few of you have reached out to us. We greatly appreciate all the love and support, even the criticism of how we can do things better. 21 episodes in. It's been a lot of fun. I think you're having a lot of fun, Isaiah. We just appreciate the hell out of everybody and the support that we've been shown. And if you don't like us, don't listen, or hey, keep listening for all I give a shit. Also, I went 3-1 in my picks last week for NFL, so hold that. Fucking hold that. All right, what you got? Hit me with a little QB blind rank.
Okay. Quarterback A has completed 60% of his passes for 433 yards, which is about 217 per game, 3 passing touchdowns, no interceptions, and has contributed 85 yards on the ground with no touchdowns.
Okay.
Any other stat with a passer rating of 90.8.
Thank you. Quarterback B.
Okay. One sec. There might be one more stat I want to give you for both of these guys as well. Might as well just give you QBR 2 while we're at it. That's probably beneficial. This quarterback actually only has a QBR of 39 right
now. Don't love that.
Great. And then quarterback B has also completed 60% of their passes, but for 618 yards, which is good for 309 per game. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's contributed 67 yards on the ground with no touchdowns, passer rating of 92.8, and a QBR of 54.3.
Yeah, I mean, you immediately lean B, right? The yardage. I don't love the turnover, but the yardage and then the efficiency in which they're playing. It's got to be B. And I'm real intrigued to hear who these are.
Mm-hmm.
So I will go with quarterback B. I don't mind the pick, but the consistency with the rating and the fact that we're getting 309 yards a game, I'm banging on that one pretty heavy.
So, quarterback A that I mentioned is none other than rookie sensation from last year, Jaden Daniels.
Ooh.
Through 2 weeks.
Ooh, that's interesting. B is just going to be an egregious comparison.
Quarterback B. Everybody was calling for this man's job after week 1. Is none other than Russell Wilson.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy work. That's the devil's work right there if I've ever seen it. That's crazy. No, I think we got to stop bagging on Russ so much. He is apparently consistent. I don't know that he's done a lot of things wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he's thrown 3 picks in 2 games.
You could point to that entire first week 1 game as to everything that he did wrong.
Yeah.
But again, I think that also has to just do with how bad their offensive line is.
Dude, if they come out and beat the Chiefs, we're going to be talking about Russ in a way different light.
Yes, we will also be doubling down on our talk of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh God, yeah. No, Chiefs fans, if you guys don't pull this one out, don't listen to the pod next week, please, because it's not going to be pretty.
You're done.
All right, should we give them our picks? Which again, I'm 3-1, no big fucking deal.
Yep, let's give them the picks. Herb was 3-1 last week. I unfortunately was 1-3. Got hooked on the Tyler Warren receptions prop. That one was tough. Completely missed on the Bengals Cincinnati game. Tough. And then I'm always going to assume we're going to get our anytime touchdown prop wrong because I don't want to be giving out like just Derrick Henry to score. Like I want to find some value on the board.
Yeah, and Jonnu bit me. Jonnu bit me last week, and that's okay, Jonnu. I believe in you. I picked you up in one of my fantasy teams.
Who did I tell you? Who did I tell you to pick to score in that game? Who did I tell you to pick?
Nope, I heard it. I heard it loud and clear. I thought it was Jonnu. I thought he was the guy. All right. Let's start with the spread. What spread do you like the most?
We're going back to it. I almost teased this when we were talking about it. The Chiefs have to win this game. They have to win this game. I think they win by a touchdown. I think they win by they're at -6 right now. -5.5. Even better. I will take Kansas City -5.5.
Okay. All right. I am going with the Houston Texans. Killing me, guy.
Sorry, I was going to give a little bit more. Sorry, I was going to give you just a little rationale to it. If after this week, Kansas City's rushing attack is as bad as it's been the first 2 weeks, it may never get better because the New York Giants' run defense is god-awful. It's the worst in the league right now. So, I'm just saying they might actually be able to rely on their running attack a little bit this week, and that's why I'm taking this.
All right. Maybe alluding to it, maybe that's your prop. Maybe Pacheco's a prop for you, huh? We don't know. We'll see. Give me Houston plus 1.5. They're going to cover that. I actually think Houston's winning over the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like Houston plus 1.5. Feels like free money. All right. Okay. Let's move on to these over-under, these high-scoring games that could be. Hit me with your favorite line for the over-under.
I am again taking an under, and if I lose again on an under, I might just stay away from that moving
Life's
forward.
Too short, brother. Life's too short.
That game that you just mentioned. I'm sticking with that game. Houston Texans, Jacksonville Jaguars, under 44.5. I don't have confidence in Houston's offense whatsoever. I also don't think Jacksonville's rushing attack is as good as it's been the first 2 weeks. And I really do like Houston's defense a lot. I think this is going to be a slow burn type of game.
Okay. All right. My pick is for a game.
Plus it's supposed to rain in Jacksonville.
You can do that every time? Son of a bitch.
Yeah, sorry. I'll try not to.
I'm going to fly to Carolina and beat you up. My pick is a game that I would encourage you to go to because it's in your backyard, brother. Bijan and the Falcons going to Carolina. Give me the over at 43.5. If you have a chance to go to that game, please go. If you ain't doing shit on Sunday, just for the ability to watch Bijan play live would be incredible. All right, prop bet. This is always a sticky one for us. This is always a sticky one. What's your prop?
I still love my rationale from last week. I think that one should have hit. So I'm still mad about that one.
Well, then pick him again against the Titans. Pick him again.
No, I can't do that. Can't do that.
By the way, brief intermission. 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Bills and Dolphins are tied 7s.
Okay. So FanDuel, I thought FanDuel typically does sack props. So maybe they will closer to the game. If they do, I'm taking Trey Hendrickson to record a sack against the Vikings. That is free money at this point.
Is Darisaw out again?
Look for another prop bet. I have not checked, but even if he's not, the rest of the offensive line is in shambles. So I still think he would get it even if Darisaw played. And I will look for another one while you give your prop bet just in case as a backup.
Yeah, no, my prop bet also feels like absolute free money, okay? It is no surprise that the Pittsburgh Steelers are having troubles in their running back rooms. Caleb Johnson may not see the field in this one because of the issues on special teams. So give me Kenneth Gainwell over 25.5 rushing yards. That feels free. They're absolutely using a 2 running back system between him and Warren. 25.5 rushing yards, cool by me.
Man, this is crazy business. I've got to do some extra digging because FanDuel doesn't want to do any of my lines right now because I think I have a good backup, and it just ain't there right now because I'm trying to get into some Jacory, Bill, Krosky, Merritt prop bets here. Austin Eckler's out. I think his line. He's gonna be in line for more opportunities this week, and I do not see a line for him anywhere.
Yeah, I also do not see prop bets for that game yet. So, if you had to throw a number on it, what number would you be comfortable taking it at?
I'm just curious where they're gonna place it at because if it's anything less than 50, you're hammering that. I think he easily gets 50. I would probably go up to
65.5,
70 because you have Daniels, I would take over because you have Daniels with nursing a knee injury, so he's not going to be rushing the ball as much as he typically would. There's not going to be as many designed quarterback runs. I think they're going to lean on him and Rodriguez to get yards. So I am comfortable with him going for more than 70.
Okay, all right. And then an any timer. Give me an any timer. An any timer you love.
Okay. Like I said, I'm not trying to give out bogus anytime touchdown props. I'm going to try and find some value. But going back to that Atlanta-Carolina game, Carolina has one of the, if they don't have the worst rush defense, I think that's New York, they have the second worst rush defense. They are god-awful against the run. They can't stop a nosebleed. I don't care. So I will take Tyler Algier to take a touchdown, to score a touchdown.
Wow.
He's at plus 240.
Okay. All right.
They're going to get in the red zone, and he's the red zone guy.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Tyler Algier. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to say the name Derrick Henry, and you're going to poo-poo that, right? And expect it, because we all expected.
I would poo-poo that.
Yeah, absolutely. After the week he had last week, he's bound to go get one. That's why I'm picking him to take 2. Give me Derrick Henry, 2-touchdown lock at plus 270. Bounce back of a lifetime. Derrick Henry is scoring twice. Mark it, book it, put the mortgage on it.
Does that mean you get an extra point if he gets that, since you called 2 touchdowns?
No. I just want I want 4 categories, but I'm calling it. I'll take the risk. Derrick Henry, 2 tutties, plus 270 on Monday night. Let's fucking ride.
I like it.
All right. Well, that wraps up football, right? Any big shout outs you got? Anything great? Anything spectacular?
I think the one thing that we need to shout out is the news of Clayton Kershaw announcing his retirement today. I think he will go down as most likely the best pitcher that we ever get to see.
I'm a little older than you. I saw the Rocket and Pedro. Okay, I saw the Rocket and Pedro. I'll give it to you though.
How much?
A lot.
How much do you vividly remember?
A lot. A lot, because I was a pitcher coming up, and if this hairline tells you anything, yeah, I saw him play, brother.
Yeah, I forgot that you're kind of old.
What's his 5-year plan? Not to die?
But it sucks talking about Kershaw, because the dude, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I still have the questions of what if with him. He had too many injury shortened seasons. I think he really could have made a run for 300 wins. He had the 3,000 Ks. He's going to end with 220. He's at 222 right now. He probably has another start or 2 left this season. But yeah, that's going to be my biggest thing with him, just the what if, because I don't think we'll ever see another 300 game winner, and he would have been probably the last one that had the opportunity if he would have been able to stay healthy. But I do want to throw back, just remind you of the year that he won, back-to-back years. So the first year, his 2 most dominant seasons, when he went as a 25-year-old, went 16-9 with a 1.83 ERA, pitched 236 innings, 232 Ks. He had an ERA plus of 194 and a WAR of 8.1 that season. And you know how he followed that up? By going 21-3 with a 1.77 ERA, with 6 complete games, 2 shutouts, doesn't even throw 200 innings, 239 Ks, ERA plus of 197, WAR of 7.7, and you know what he does? Caps it off with his second consecutive Cy Young and Most Valuable Player award. Shout out to a legend.
Kershaw will go down as one of top 3 lefty pitchers of all time for sure. He's up there with Randy Johnson, in my opinion. I don't hesitate to say this. Clayton Kershaw may have the nastiest curveball the MLB has ever seen. It's the most disgusting thing. I'm glad he announced it before the postseason because now we can all relish in watching the Dodgers in the postseason, and I can't stand the Dodgers. But a mad respect to Clayton Kershaw. What a career. Mm-hmm. My shout out of the week is going to take us to the WNBA. Shocking, I know.
Fuck yeah.
WNBA named their coach of the year. Natalie Nakase, I believe it is how you pronounce it. First-year head coach with the upstart expansion team, the Golden State Valkyrie. Huge shout-out. I think that's awesome. You're taking a program from nothing. They won 23 games. They're in the playoff. Shout-out to her. Former Clippers coach, by the way. Coached for the Clippers for 2-3 years. So good for her. Shout out to the WNBA. I still want to be relevant with WNBA despite Angel Reese's bullshit and her fucking shoe coming out tomorrow. Who cares? But shout out Golden State. Shout out Natalie. Congrats. What an honor. That's a big deal. I think it should be made a big deal. So that's all I've got, man.
Awesome. Well, that wraps up another episode of Don't Quote Us Sports. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow, tell somebody to give us a listen. Make sure to drop into our comments, DMs, wherever you would like, about what we should talk about game-wise moving forward or just topics in general. Love having those interactions and getting other people's insight or thoughts as to kind of where they stand currently.
Yeah. Just interact with us. Let us know. And again, like I said, I appreciate all you guys for listening. Appreciate everybody that likes, shares, subscribe. We couldn't do it without you, although we probably still would because that's just fucking what we are. So, all right, man. Should be a good weekend.
Yep. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace. See you.